Those girls are fucking getting it. Yeah. Woo! Is that dysfunction or injury? Obviously, social dysfunction. Today's topic, dysfunction versus injury. And if you listen to what I have to say today, you won't get to the injury part because dysfunction is the precursor. So, let's talk about that. What the fuck is dysfunction? Dysfunction, the pain is manageable. It's always, that's why I bring up the weird feeling. It's like, it's like a little, just feels like, that's fine, right? I can push through. That's dysfunction. And you generally don't need rest or medication because there's no inflammation, there's not real tear just yet, but it could be. So let's talk about injury. So with injury, it's like, oh, motherfucker. Like that. It hurts real fucking bad, right? Oh, my ankle hurts. It's painful. The inflammation starts to swell around there. It's acute, meaning it just happened in that moment, right? Now the idea is like, well, how do I treat this? Right? It's like, it's inflamed. It hurts. It's the pain is so severe that I don't want to use it generally, right? That's why they recommend rest. It's more than dysfunction. It's something that I don't want to use anymore, right? I don't want to play tennis. I don't want to go for a run. Actually, I think I caused a little weirdness in my ankle doing that, by the way, which is ironic. And you might need a medication to like reduce swelling, of course, inflammation, that kind of stuff. It's usually actual trauma to the tissue. But the point of this video is to explain what is happening beneath the surface, right? What's going on is that dysfunction generally always leads to the injury, almost always, unless you get hit by like a car, I don't know, like fall off of a building, like something extreme trauma where like it obviously caused some problem. It's usually dysfunction that led it to it. Because the dysfunction that led to my ankle roll just then, right, like caused the sprain, you know, if it did, is because my anterior tibialis here, this is true for me. It's really tight. To play a lot of tennis, I'm always on my toes. So this muscle right here that's connected to my ankle is pulling really hard at this ankle because I use this muscle a lot, right? I use it every time I'm like on my toes. And when runners will know this because they'll get shin splints. Similar situation. So the soleus out here, also very tight. Pretty much all the muscles on the external to my tibia here are really tight and overactive because of the sports that I play and the kind of workouts I like to do. So I don't have a balance on the other side. So everything pulls in this general direction on the outside. So what I do, I'm sure you all seen a Theragun, very popular piece of tool. I've relied on it a lot. So before I get to injury, I want to solve my dysfunctions constantly so I never get to an injury. And one way I do that is to break that tissue that I'm running into. So here, this is going to be loud. Woo! Like that, and just, ooh, that feels really good. And follow that muscle from the point it attaches all the way through the shin, that anterior tibialis right here, this muscle on the side. Follow it all the way through, break it up, come on the outside and do the same thing. Essentially every muscle, and you'll know, it'll be dense. You want to like really break that tissue up. Let's see, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Oh, right there. Like this is dense. That density, that compression that the muscle is getting to that point happens at both ends of the spectrum. Either incredible overuse, right? So like I play tennis, I work out, blah, 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 blah. You know, I fall for your sake, right? Or the opposite, where it's just not underuse. Muscles essentially at rest will essentially start to get shorter and shorter and shorter because it's not, you're not relying on it to like expand and retract because you're doing a bunch of physical activity, right? So if either underuse or overuse is where you fall into those categories, it's important to work it into your mobility, into your programs. It's not a video about mobility. I have a ton of content on that, but I just want to express that's why we talk about it. Stand on there with both feet. Woo! All right. So now we have an Alex in the wild. Okay. And he's standing there, all right. His feet are close together, see his toes are externally rotating. This is his natural position, because I didn't tell him what to do. All I said was get on the boat with both feet, right? Now we're gonna have him do a squat, just a basic ass little squat. Actually not bad, Alex, not bad. All right. Somebody worked with their trainer a little bit on this stuff.
I watched the videos that I edit, so.
Oh, funny. He just said that he watches the videos that he edits, so he's actually watching me and create content, and he performs the action, which is noble. All right, now I want you to stand on it with one foot. All right, and now bend over and touch your toe. So right now, you can already see he has a little shaking side to side. That's his anterior tibialis, his soleus, and his gastroc below the knee, trying to balance itself out, right? Remember, his outside of his shin is going to be overactive like mine is. And the inside, see how his ankle starts to collapse a lot? It's because it doesn't know how to compensate for that balance. The soleus there is not near as active as that anterior tibialis is, right there on the shin. So do it a couple more times. And every time he bends over, his core no longer can help him as much to maintain balance. And it's all in the ankle and the knee there. And he sees a lot of shaking. He's like, you can't see the top of his body. He's like waving around a lot, trying to maintain balance. All right, Alex, that's enough. That's enough embarrassing you there. Yeah. So now that you understand how to notice dysfunction, and there is an example for this for everything, like your push-ups, your press, your shoulders, your hips. There's a way to like check for all the imbalances to find out like where's this dysfunction at, essentially, and how then we can start working on it. Solving the dysfunction, there's always two things you have to think about. What am I going to release, right? Why am I going to open up? Like in this case, the anterior tibialis, I need to open this muscle up because it's far too dense and compact. And then what do I need to contract, right? What do I need to engage? And that would be more out here a little bit, right? On this side. So I already talked a little bit about how to break tissue up. But another way is sometimes if I go doing a shotgun approach, I'm like, you know what, let's just break up all the tissue in that area. All right? So I'm wrapping all the muscles. Benefit of this is that the muscles that aren't that tight and dense aren't going to receive much benefit from this, which is good. Because I don't want them to receive benefit of being broken up right now. But the ones that are really dense and tight are going to see a big benefit from this because they're going to want to resist this compression, right? They're going to push against it. This is a floss band, by the way, in case y'all are curious. I think it's your thumbnail right there. Me trying to, like, what the fuck am I doing? All right, so now, I feel a lot of compression on there, right? I'm cutting off blood flow. I probably only have like 2 minutes before I have to take this off, but I can feel that pressure. And now I'm trying to get the muscles, the ones that I'm focused on, to like open up as much as possible, right? So I'm thinking like, I want to get here. I want to push against it. Oh yeah, I feel that pressure on the outside, especially. I want to roll my ankle outward intentionally to try to get that anterior tibialis even more opened up. I'm going to come off on this Bosu, like here, and try to go. This is actually even harder with a strap on because now your brain was like, I know how to fire those muscles when it had no restriction. Now you put a massive restriction on it and it's having a tough time compressing them at the rate of speed that it needs to in order for you not to bust your ass, right? So it's not bad actually, surprisingly. Whew. And you'll know it's a stability problem and not a strength problem because you'll see yourself get better in real time. Like if I do this for 5 straight minutes on this left leg, it'll be damn near perfect by the end because it's a neurological thing. It's not a strength thing. This is a very important distinction when you're developing something with balance here. Now, the question is like, I'm benching, I opened up one side of my calf, right? My anterior tibialis, my gastroc. So I need to open up the inside now, or strengthen the opposite side, right? So how do I do that? What I do is I put my foot just on the outside of that white dot, so that way the majority of my weight, let's say if this is the white dot, I want my weight a little bit over here more, right? So that way my foot is fighting to go inward, otherwise I just fall off the left side here. My left, your right. So now I'm leaving a little bit of that inner circle closer to the inside of my Achilles. my arch. So that way, see now it feels weird because my ankle immediately, see how it's starting to fall to the side? Because I'm dominant on this outside. It's trying to fight back in. And that's how I'm building up the inside of my tibia, right? And now I'm still doing the same thing and trying to work through that position while strapped and trying to balance out. You don't have to do this and do that, by the way. I was just trying to save time. But it is very, very effective. And I'm actually glad I did that because I rolled my ankle at tennis this morning, which is probably why I shouldn't have done it again on purpose. So that is the majority of things you want to think about is how are you open up that tissue. Now, the most common way it is done in today's society is a roller. Everyone has seen a damn roller at this point. They're usually a foam roller. I don't like to use foam, I like to use PVC pipe because it's far more aggressive. Because the idea is exactly what I just said. What is fucking tight in your body? Break that up so it doesn't get in your way later. Optimizing for performance. That's what we fucking want to do, right? So for me, because I like to squat, deadlift, I like to do my squats like this, out wide, right? I like to do sumo deadlifts. Because of all this muscle, this VL, is really freaking tight. And if you watched my last video, you notice I was rolling that specific muscle and crying real bad, crying like a little boy. Because that's the muscle I need to roll all the time in order to maintain balance for performance, right? So for me, it's like right there. That's the idea I want to get across to you right now. That's it, is that every single time that you're in the gym and you want to work out, or you know what, you're not in the gym, you don't even like to strength train at all. I don't care if you've never been in the gym in your entire life. The point is that find the muscles that are the tightest on you. Your traps, this is very common here. That anterior tibialis I was talking about here. The outside of the calf. What is that white stuff? What the fuck? Anyways, the outside of the femur here, this VL, that's very common. The outside of the glutes, the low back. Find the muscles that are the problem areas. They're really, really fighting you, and then grind against them with some kind of surface. But do not neglect the opposing side that helps build that structure. Otherwise, you're just gonna weaken yourself, because that's what you're doing. This is very controversial in the fitness world, is that by releasing these muscles that I just did, I weakened my ankle just now. That is technically true. I have a less contractile force. That's what I was trying to do. But it was important to me that it's like the current loss for the long-term win. I need this to stop pulling so hard here, so that way, if there's like a leveling system here, it was doing this before I just released it, right? And it was a seconds away from like compressing something, causing damage to the tissue, maybe even pinching a nerve or something. Instead, I released it and called it this way, bounce out a little, and then I engaged over here, and then bounce out even more. So now it's like level. Now I have a great balance, all the force is distributed equally, and that's what you want. It doesn't matter if it makes you a little weaker temporarily. You want that balance of force, so then you feel better and you perform at a much higher level, and your chances of injury become non-existent basically. Again, unless you get hit by a car, or some girl starts singing, I don't even, actually what song was it? I was gonna say Last Friday Night, but I don't even remember anymore. I don't know, that injured me, I'm just saying, and I couldn't roll that out before it injured my ears. But that's the point. I would hope that helps a lot. I know that this is the thing, what I just talked about today is the reason why my trainers actually have a career, is because understanding how the body works in that respect can be far more valuable than understanding that lifting heavyweight makes you strong and helps burn fat. Sure, it does. But do you know that if you get injured, you're basically out of that habit of working out for 3 to 6 months? And then having to get back where you were takes like another year. So you just took a year and a half out of your life of where you were just now. It's like, why do that? Just focus on the stuff. Do the things, right? Have the knowledge. Hire the right person. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Thank you, Alex, for embarrassing yourself in front of the camera and all of YouTube. See you next week. Where am I going? I don't know. Excellent. I'm just gonna do this. I don't know how to do this. All right, guys, seriously, thank you for watching this video. This is a lot of what my business actually does. Go ahead, subscribe below, get more of this content, but also we're coming out with a fitness masterclass. We'll get really into the weeds with this kind of stuff, so be around for that. Go to the website, you can get on our email list, and we have like 40 or so free 5-minute moves that we give away, where we teach you everything about mobility, stability, strength, power, and endurance in 5 minutes on a daily basis. It's awesome content. Go check it out. It's totally free. And be on the lookout for our fitness masterclass. It's going to fuck.